Hello and welcome to ET Studios, powered by ET Auto. We are here at Yashobhumi, the venue for the component show, which is part of Bharat Mobility Global Expo 2025. And I have with me Dr. Hanif Qureshi, Additional Secretary, Ministry of Heavy Industries. That is the parent ministry for the automotive industry. Dr. Qureshi, thanks for sparing your time.
Thank you.
You took a look at the component show also.
Yes.
Your first impression?
My impression is that we can see a lot of shades of the vibrant India which is emerging. A very large number of auto component makers, more than 70,000 square meters they have occupied. And it's a business to business show. And I could see a lot of serious conversations going on small tables. So I can see that there's a lot of buzz about the business activity which is going to take place. I think it's a very good initiative where these B2B meetings can take place in a very cool and a relaxed manner.
Right.
That's the feeling I got.
And this time, I mean, this is not the first edition, this is the second edition of the Bharat Mobility Show. And it also reflects the government's focus on the larger goal of really pushing the envelope in terms of advancing the mobility solutions towards that. So from that perspective, electric mobility becomes is also a key focus area of the government, and you have been instrumental in framing policies on that matter. So what is your assessment of basically simple question, Dr. Qureshi? Are you satisfied with the way the electrification trend is taking shape in India, or do you think something more can be done?
India started on its electrification journey relatively late as compared to other countries. Some of the countries started in 1990s, some started in 2000s. Our real push came only in 2014-15. That is when the FAME 1 scheme was launched.
Right.
Then we had FAME 2.
April 1st, 2015.
Yes. Then we had PLI schemes. I think during the period of FAME 1, from 2014-15 to about 2019, there was a slow uptake of electric vehicles. But after 29, the pace has really picked up.
2019 onwards.
2019 onwards. And Niti Aayog estimates that our electric vehicle industry will grow at 49% CAGR till 2030. And the larger automotive will grow at, say, about 5 or 6% or maximum 7%. So that's a very high rate of growth. However, when we compare ourselves to some of the other countries, we think that we have a lot to catch up. In India, electric cars, we sold about 45 lakh cars last year in 23-24, out of which only about 95,000 were electric cars. So we have a penetration or rate of about 1.8%. In US, the same rate is about 12 to 13%. Europe is selling about 24-25% electric cars, and China is of course at 36-37% plus. So we are just beginning our journey. But one thing we have which is very important and which will take us forward is the emphasis on localization.
Indeed. A robust ecosystem is absolutely critical.
Our industry is increasingly putting more effort into R&D. Today I have seen a number of small companies which are investing in R&D, which are creating new solutions. Earlier, which used to be imported, now we are making them in India. So it's a good sign. I will not say we are there, but I can see that a lot of effort into localization is taking place.
And EV, as I also understand after a lot of interactions, even today and yesterday here at the component show, that's been seen as one of the strongest bet for many of the component suppliers, particularly the larger tier ones. So, but the government's role is to pave the way, pave the road, and for industry's role is to come up with all the necessary activities.
See, what I'll say is that our Prime Minister has given a vision of net zero by 2070, and that not only talks about electric vehicles, but also about other clean solutions. So we have seen hydrogen ICE trucks, we have seen hydrogen fuel cell vehicles, we have seen flex fuel vehicles, and electric vehicles also. So I think we should look at it from a combined perspective. We have a number of technologies. For long distance trucks, we have LNG solutions.
Right.
So all these technologies will find their place, of which of course electric vehicles are certainly very important.
So what you're saying that it will be a bouquet of new clean technologies, and we shouldn't pick on electric as the winning horse. Let them take their own course.
Absolutely.
Towards that, government will provide the necessary support.
Government already has a green hydrogen mission.
Right.
In PLI Auto, we have components also are incentivized. We have about more than a dozen components of hydrogen ICE engines, sensors, those are incentivized. So government is incentivizing production of hydrogen engine component parts also.
You also have that pilot project, right, where some OEMs have also participated.
Yes.
On that front, now talking about government support, and in fact, since you talked about flex fuel, this year is also crucial in a way because what can be also seen as the first major serious step towards the eventual goal of flex fuel, the E20 regulation will come in from 1st April. Right.
So 1st April, we have a target of 20% blending of ethanol.
Right.
We have already crossed 14% or so.
Okay.
And very soon we should be reaching 20%, and then lies the journey beyond 20, which is flex fuel. So it is heartening to know that most of the OEMs have produced at least one model of flex fuel engines that is going from E20 up to E85.
Okay.
So there's a good traction there also.
Right. Talking about traction, in the electrification mega trend, one segment which was kind of left out earlier or was not covered earlier were the trucks, medium and heavy duty trucks, which the government is trying to kind of encourage to get electrified. You have had a draft proposal policy, or you kind of invited feedback from the industry. What is the feedback that you are getting on that?
So we have rupees 500 crores for heavy duty electric trucks in the PM E-Drive scheme.
Right.
We are looking at some of the captive solutions. For instance, we have talked to the cement industry. So they have the clinker movement which can take place on electric trucks. We have talked to some of the ports. Ports also have captive movement. They don't go more than 100, 150 kilometers. We have talked to the steel industry. So we think that initially in the captive use, which is not more than say 100, 150 or 200 kilometers, that can be a good area for starting of electric trucks.
Okay.
Though we are not thinking about long distance electric trucks, but short distance and captive usage. So in the cement industry and ports, some of the players are already running a pilot with 4 trucks, with 8 trucks. So electric trucks will come, but the government's role should be to accelerate that adoption.
Absolutely.
That is what we want.
Yeah. So, do you think that the feedback that the industry is giving you towards this electrification of trucks is positive, or it's a mixed one, or how? Or do you think it needs some tweaking, maybe? Or
it's a mixed feedback. One question is the heavy load of the battery, which the trucks have to carry.
I see.
So we have to find some solution for it. Then charging infrastructure, that is an issue. But that issue can be sorted, for example, in ports or in the clinker movement.
Right.
So short distance, you can have a fixed charging infrastructure which is dedicated to that.
Right.
So those are the kind of conversations we are having right now.
So, since you a couple of minutes ago mentioned about the bouquet of technology, could it also be that the government provides whatever is required for that segment of trucking to get electrified, while the long haulage moves to hydrogen, let's say, or LNG? Very long intervals between refueling. You need not require a huge infrastructure in terms of dispensing units. So, is that a kind of a permutation combination that can happen?
So it is a difficult question, and I think we are too early in this technology. These are all nascent technologies. We have seen a few companies displaying their LNG trucks, displaying hydrogen ICE trucks. So let us see how this technology plays out.
Right.
But I think the industry as well as the government has to support whatever new R&D takes place. We don't know in what direction the new R&D will take place. That is why we always emphasize that more research is required into making cheaper and cleaner solutions.
So, what is your message to the industry? That is it that you're saying that you go ahead with your efforts, R&D efforts, innovation efforts towards cleaner transportation with the larger national goal of 2070 carbon neutrality, and do that, and the government will provide the support.
See, one thing is that we have to do R&D, we have to innovate, we have to think about fresh ideas. That is one thing. But that route can be very long. We also need to collaborate with other we need to think about technology transfer. We need to think about joint ventures. That is a faster way of acquiring technologies. So both these things have to be done. The second thing which I would like to say is that, as the Prime Minister said when he inaugurated the Bharat Mobility Show, that we have to make in India for the world. Our domestic market is pretty big. We are the third largest commercial car market in the world. But our growth should not only come from domestic market, but also from exports. Ideally, we would like to see major markets of the world having Indian products, Indian cars, buses moving around.
Two-wheelers, of course. Two-wheelers already.
Two-wheelers are already. Cars also. We are exporting more than 14% of our cars.
Right.
But then people should say, oh, it's an Indian car, it must be very good.
Yeah. Yes.
So we have to make in India for the
earn
world.
that confidence.
Earn that.
Right.
So that is where all of us should try to go.
And on the electrification side, there was some tweaking of the FAME 2 policy towards it, and should the industry now prepare for a incentive-free era, or do you think
See, if we look globally, then we see that subsidies have been tapering. In China, in Europe, in US, quantum of subsidies was much higher earlier. Similar thing should happen in India. As the demand for electric vehicle grows and their number grows, we should taper down the subsidy. And eventually may mean 2 years, it may mean 3 years, may mean 4 years, it depends upon how the market grows. Eventually we have to go towards a regime where there are no subsidies. But then we must realize that industry needs not only fiscal incentives, but non-fiscal incentives. There are some structural constraints, some issues with guidelines, with FTAs, with the way our various rules are structured. And it is not confined to one ministry. We have 7 or 8 Government of India ministries, we have state governments. So we need to make the process in such a way that the rollout of electric vehicles is easier. The ease of doing business must permeate every level of decision making in the government.
Lastly, Dr. Qureshi, towards that objective, are there any deliberations to come up with any kind of new interventions or tweaking of existing policies or framework?
So, as far as the Ministry of Heavy Industry is concerned, we are thinking about electric trucks. We have to issue the guidelines. We are also working on electric ambulances. In India, we do not have electric ambulances so far, but we wish to incentivize hybrid as well as electric ambulances. We also have circulated a draft guidelines on the establishment of charging infrastructure, where we want states to consolidate their demands and send it to us, and the Government of India would be funding 80% of the upstream cost. So these are some of the areas where we are working now.
Okay. On that note, Dr. Qureshi, thank you. Always a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you very much.
And viewers, thanks for watching this interview with Dr. Hanif Qureshi, Additional Secretary, Ministry of Heavy Industries, which is the parent ministry for the automobile industry. Thank you and take care.